We're on day 3 of the lockdown, and on Sport SA Daily Diary today we'll be chatting to 9 times Comrades Marathon winner, the legendary Bruce Fordyce. So we're on day 3 of the lockdown in South Africa, and on our Sport SA Daily Diary today we have the legendary Bruce Fordyce, the 9-time winner of the Comrades Marathon. You don't get much more of an endurance fitness athlete than that. Bruce, how are things going there during lockdown for you?
Yes, here I am. Thanks, Adam. It's me, the man with more comrades than the ANC. We were chatting earlier, and it's going fine. I'm keeping myself as busy as possible. I've got a couple of projects. I'm writing a book about how to run your very first Comrades, relating it back to my own experience. But as we were chatting, as we were saying, the problem is for me is that I can handle any distance, any challenge, if you tell me what the challenge is. If you tell me what the distance is, I will get my head around it. So if we're doing a 10K fun run, I can think about the 10K distance and cope with it. If we're doing a Comrades, give me enough warning and I will run 90 kilometers. But this is a marathon unique in that we don't know where the end is and we don't know what the distance is. So that for me is probably the worrying and perturbing part of it. We say now we're on a 21-day lockdown, but are we? And how long until this thing is gone, or will it ever be? So it's one of those, it's one of those difficult marathons where you don't know the distance.
Absolutely. I saw it in the news today that Italy have now extended their lockdown until the end of July. We're in the new phase of things. Who knows where this thing could go? It's actually a bit crazy.
Yes, but it's worrying. But I'm always a positive person, so I try to look on the positive side of things all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bruce, are you doing anything to try and keep fit? Being locked at home, I did a run around the garden today and I had to do it.
Yes, so I have a route that I'm already getting tired with. We've got a long driveway, luckily, and a garden. So it's, I'll give you my route because I did it this morning. Up and down the stairs to my office, then round the garden twice, then out of the gate, up and down the drive, which is a long one. Repeat umpteen times. But essentially what I do is I keep going until I've done an hour. And then because I'm quite fanatical about not losing too much fitness, I also every second day have a gym session, which is just a few weights, a few sit-ups, some push-ups, some planking, that kind of thing. And then every evening I sit on a stationary bike and I cycle for about 45 minutes to an hour, making the gears, or making the difficulty of pedaling harder and easier. And to get through the incredible boredom of that, I listen to old music albums that I haven't listened to for a very long time, or videos, or anything that I think is interesting to kill the boredom. So I'm actually probably going to pop out of this thing a bit fitter than I was when I started.
Well, that's actually a good thing. Just watching some of the TV, they're just repeating so much sport. So maybe I should also look at some of those old music albums that you haven't heard for years.
For ages, it's amazing. Nostalgia while you're working out.
Absolutely. Bruce, I've done the Comrades twice now, the last 2 years. And it's a phenomenal achievement.
You got your back-to-back?
Yes, I did my back-to-back.
Okay.
Preferred the up significantly more than the down.
Well, you and I are the same. I love the up.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And actually my time was 45 minutes faster on the up than it was on the down. But I came in 5,000 something. Tell us about coming in first. My feeling of coming in 5,000 was an amazing achievement. Tell us what it was like coming in first.
Well, you've experienced more or less the same feeling as I had, particularly in your novice run, because as you know, you're going into the unknown. You're not sure whether you can run 90 kilometers. And in my very first Comrades, I was overwhelmed with emotion when I had about 2 kilometers to go and I knew I was going to finish. But then times that by 10 if you win. And you know, I've had some wins that were quite narrow, so that was quite panic-stricken and worrying, maybe realizing you're going to make it as I came into the stadium at the finish. But I also had a couple where I had a really big lead, and one in particular that stands out is 1988 uprun, where I had a 12-minute lead. So my seconds saw me for the last time when I had about 3 kilometers to go, and the message they gave me was excuse me, the message they gave me was enjoy it because you're going to win, no one's going to catch you. And I kept that moment, so I froze it for whenever I'm disappointed with myself, or I'm a bit depressed, or I'm getting a bit down. I can literally take that memory and bring it back into my mind and live it. Now I still remember every detail. My mouth was very tacky and my lips were sticking together because of all those energy gels, you know, that I had. And I said there was too much corn sugar going through my body. And I think, yeah, one more lime flavored or coffee chocolate flavored thing, and I think I would have been ill. My legs were very sore, but they were strong. And I was running, I mean, probably 3.5 minutes a kilometer. So barring a catastrophe, no one was going to catch me. And I remember the crowd. I can still remember some of those faces, a little boy jumping out and cheering, and then being given the baton. And as you know, the winner of the Comrades, the male winner, is handed a baton just as you come into the stadium. And inside that baton, curled up, is a letter from the mayor of the one city to the mayor of the other city. And that gets read out after you've crossed the line. And that baton, I can promise you, is like a magic wand. It's like a lightsaber. And all the pain, all the effort just drains out of you when you get that thing. And there is not a single winner. I don't think there's a single winner who hasn't raised it up in the air, and you air punch with that thing. And then you run the last lap with, you know, I don't know, 20,000 spectators going mad, and it's lump in the throat material. And in my day, the earliest wins, the winner's tape was made out of very tight, taut plastic, and when you hit it, it burst, and so it made this loud bang, bang as you hit the tape, which is just, and then of course you start crying because you've just run the Comrades, or you sink on your knees, or whatever it is. And yeah, I've kept those moments to remember them, and most importantly to remember the honor of leading the entire Comrades field home. So you are the standard bearer, like the old Roman legionnaires, who the standard bearer went first, and you are the standard bearer for thousands of incredibly brave people behind you, incredible people who've had to dig deep, who haven't got the genetics that you have. I chose my parents very wisely. And some of them have, in fact, the direct opposite genetics to be a good runner. And they're going to be out there for many hours still. So it is a great honor to lead those people in.
Yeah, I mean, it must be phenomenal. And Bruce, I mean, it's highly unlikely that your record of 9 victories is ever going to get matched. You know, we watched this year, and another South African, Gerda Steyn, did an absolutely unreal job. What were your thoughts of her performance this year? I mean, she even was in the top 20 of the men. I mean, a phenomenal result.
Well, I mean, she's, you know, from my generation, somebody I shared the top rung of the podium, so to speak, the top stair was Frith van der Merwe. And we always said Frith van der Merwe would be unique. But Gerda is the new Frith, because a 5:58 uprun equates very closely to Frith van der Merwe's 5:54 down. It might even be a slightly better performance. And to put it into perspective, by the way, Gerda is a delightful, happy, absolute asset to the race, and a wonderful, wonderful champion. And sadly, he died early last year. Tommy Malone, who won in 1966, but was more famous for the one he lost in 1967 by 1 second to Marnie Kuhn. He always used to try and find the ladies' champion and the men's champion each year there's a VIP room afterwards full of the officials and the sponsors, and if you're a past winner, you get invited. and he would go to the new winner and say, "Welcome to the Winners Club." And I know that Gerda, he was not there, he was not alive when Gerda won, but he would have said, "What a great winner." But to put it into perspective, I was standing with one of my heroes, Derek Price. Derek won 1974, 1975, and I hadn't started, but I remember in those days there was no television, but listening to his win on the radio. And so I was standing with Derek, and he said to me, he said, "I can't believe it, Bruce." He said, "Because when I won in 1975, I ran 5:58. And if you had told me in 1975 that a woman would come along and run the same time as me, I would have told you you're on drugs, or are you out of your mind?" Because in 1975 was the first year that women were allowed to run. And so that is the quantum leap that Gerda Steyn has made with the uprun and Comrades. And as Derek pointed out to me, he said, "And what's really frightening, Bruce," he said, when I finished, I was finished. They had to carry me off. I was man down when I finished. And look at Gerda," he said, "she's blowing kisses and hugging her family and waving at fans." So he said the scary thing is, if Gerda and I had been shoulder to shoulder in an imaginary uprun race, she would have beaten me in the last kilometer. Her sprint, I didn't have a sprint. That's the way he summed it up.
Quite remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Bruce, yesterday I was chatting to Clinton McIntosh, and he said I should mention something to you about the Swazi Adventure Race and your participation in that. I'm not sure if you remember doing that.
So a while ago, I had a TV series with a great mate of mine, David Flock, who he's an actor. Some people remember him as Tim from Igoli. And he and I had a TV series called Flock and Fordyce on the Run, in which we did various difficult events with TV cameras following us, and we generally did them very badly. But they were beautiful, and they were unique, or they were tricky events, and it was a fun thing with quite a lot of humor. And David and I were then press ganged into having to do the Swazi Extreme, which, for the listeners who don't know what that's about, it's I don't know, about 250 Ks, 250 kilometers in which you go through various disciplines, mountain biking, paddling down a huge river, running, walking, and you have to find all these checkpoints. I won't bore people with the details, but it takes a very long time. And it is without a doubt the hardest thing I've ever done. And one of the days you have to climb a mountain, but not a mountain, you've got to climb a cliff face. So you have to learn all these mountaineering techniques, and only halfway up discover that you have a horrendous fear of heights while you're hanging there. And that remains one of the hardest things I've ever done. I'm very proud of the fact that we made it. Our team of 4 made it. We were 11th out of about 50 or 60 teams. We were lying last on day one. And one of our supporters, a youngster, was asked, "Why do you think they're doing so badly?" And he looked at the camera and said, "Because they're useless." But we got better. And you can sleep whenever you want to. You sleep under a tree somewhere in the middle of the night. Anyway, the point of the whole thing was, at the end of this, I expected an unbelievable T-shirt, a scroll signed by various sporting stars, and a medal, a gold medal encrusted with diamonds. That's what we should have got. Instead, I got a T-shirt that was an extra large, and I'm a small to a medium. And that's all I got. And whenever I see Darren Raw, the organizer of that event, I look at him with hatred, and I tell him, "Darren, where is my diamond encrusted medal?" Very proud to have done it, but I wouldn't line up to do it again.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Bruce. Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today on day 3 of Sport SA Daily Diary. It's been fantastic chatting to you.
Yes,
and good luck with the rest of the lockdown.
And I hope there's going to be a number 3, Adam, one day.
There is not this year. I'm aiming for next year for the 100th edition, and then definitely the 100th year, and then definitely the 100th edition as well.
Yes,
but those are both going to be down, so that's the problem.
Yeah, and you love the uprun, but and I expect in a few years' time to hand you your green number for 10 runs.
At all. There's an incentive for sure. Bruce, thank you so much. Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Adam. You too.
Cheers. Guys, we'll be chatting to Butch James tomorrow, so look out for that. And again, thanks to 9-time winner Bruce Fordyce of the Comrades Marathon. 9-time winner. Fantastic. Thanks, Bruce. In tomorrow's episode of Sports SA Daily Diary, we'll be chatting to ex-Springbok fly half Butch James.